Built versus bought. Which is better? So the age-old debate on any car enthusiast out there is what is better? Buying a car or building one for yourself? You have two choices in life. You will either buy a fast car or you will build a fast car. If you enjoy working hard, getting your hands dirty, not minding spending a little extra money, learning something new, having rad mullets, getting laid, and just being badass, you will decide to choose the route of building cars, which is what I normally do. This is the current project, the Pontiac G8 that I'm currently working on a cam swap on. I can't tell how many times I've busted my knuckles, cut my thumb on this thing, cussed it out. It's been a great experience though. You learn something new. Every time you tear apart a car, no matter how many times you've done it before, you will always learn something new or a new trick to put it back together, etc., etc. Let's say you go out and buy a car, okay? Let's say you go out and you buy a brand new GT500. You're probably the kind of guy who will go to Cars and Coffee, doesn't really go to the drag strip, and maybe occasionally goes out to the nighttime meets. I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with buying a 700 plus horsepower car and never racing it or tracking it or anything like that. I guess the car was meant to just sit in the garage and rot away for its whole life. But it seems like a lot of guys who go out and buy cars don't really drive them. And a lot of the times the guys who buy cars are very easy to spot out in the crowd of those people who have built theirs. Like for starters, you see a guy with a Camaro and he'll talk about all cams it has, you know, how he swapped out both of them and how it has the wrong displacement engine in it. True story, I was at a car show and this guy had a 5th gen Camaro and he tried to convince me and my brother that it had an LS6 in it. It did not. It never came with an LS6. His license plate even said LS6 for the win. So you can tell this is probably the type of guy who just went out and bought the car because it was a Camaro, and he probably heard from his buddy Gerald down in the office corner, "Hey, my son got a Camaro and it's pretty fast, so I'm gonna go invest in one." I'm not saying all people who buy fast cars are dumb, just the vast majority of them. There are some cars, obviously, that when you do buy, are they're gonna be very expensive, like Porsches, Lamborghinis, Ferraris. Obviously, you're gonna spend a lot of money on those cars. But for some reason, I met a lot of people in the past who will buy these, Lamborghinis and put like a bunch of stickers on it, and then they know absolutely nothing about the car or how to drive it, and make themselves look like a huge asshat at Cars and Coffee. Not all of them. Another thing is, if you talk to a car enthusiast between a guy who built his car and a guy who bought his car, the guy who built his car will tell you from the T everything about that car, where it came from, where he put it in, just every little detail about it. But I can't have a conversation with you when you know absolutely nothing about your car. And I feel a lot of people will go out and buy fast cars to get what they quote unquote clout. But when you go to a meet or you go somewhere and people ask you questions about it, you look like a big idiot because you have no idea what the hell you really have. So if you want to look stupid, have no idea what you're talking about, get respect by people who know more about your car than you know about it yourself, then go ahead, buy something fast, buy something already modified. That's a whole other thing. If you buy a car already modified, jeez. This is a touchy subject for me because I have a lot of friends out there who have bought cars modified. You don't know what's been done to it. You can literally, it's so frustrating to see because you'll see people go out and buy these super fast built cars, and then the first time it has a problem with it, they freak out and don't know what to do because they've never held a wrench in their life. Is that the definition of a ricer? Would that be considered a ricer but with more money? So if you're gonna go out and buy a fast car, do some research on the car first, please, so you don't look like a bumbling idiot at a car meet. And then they get defensive, like when you ask them certain questions, like they'll just get kind of shady with you, like, how dare you ask me questions about my car? It's mine. Why do you care? We're car enthusiasts, dude. We ask questions. We're curious about other cars. Which is why I'm glad I chose the path of building my own cars and modifying my own cars. I never take my cars to any shops unless I absolutely have to. Obviously, I can't do my own alignment in my garage. So like I said, the path you choose is up to you. Personally, as you can tell from this video, I prefer building my cars versus buying something either modified or fast from factory. There's a sense of pride when you buy something that's slower than the average sports car at that time, and you turn it into something great and beautiful. Not this one. This one's going to be kind of slow. It's just getting a stock cam in it. Getting rid of the DOD to make it more of a daily driver. But like my Caprice, for example, that car from the ground up, from the wheels, from the center console to the engine, I did everything to that car, and it's my pride and joy, and I get to hold my head up high. There's a sense of pride when you tell somebody that you swapped the cam in it, you put the torque converter in it, you put the injectors in the fuel pump. When you tell someone that you've done something to this car, there's a mutual respect between people who build cars, like people who modify their own cars, like, oh wow, he did this, and oh, he did this, and he knows all this information. That's what I love about building cars, is that no matter, okay, take this G8 for example. Let's take a G8 and put it next to a WRX. Both of us have built our cars. I could spark up a 4-hour conversation with this guy, have a great time, talk about how we did this and this and this, and how this worked and how all of our performance parts work together. Now let's say I park my G8 next to a new Hellcat. I'll talk to the guy, like, oh, I like your Hellcat. He goes, oh yeah, thanks, I just bought it. I go, oh, is it anyway? He goes, well, no. I'm gonna send it off to so-and-so Performance, and they're gonna do this and this. Like, they have no idea what they're talking about. They're just basically buying a car from factory to make fast, so when they go other places, they can get quote-unquote respected by other people. Like, I never understood why people buy cars to get like a respect or attention. That's never how any of this works. I'll respect anybody, whether you built it or bought it. I don't really care. As long as you're a semi-decent person and you're okay to talk to about cars, I'll probably get along with you pretty well. What I don't get along with is the cocky guy who went out and bought a brand new car and showing it up when he knows absolutely nothing about it. And the first time his exhaust or something comes loose, he thinks the car's gonna blow up, but it's something super minor, and you can tell he's never wrenched in his life. It just makes me wonder what triggers some people to go out and buy cars just for attention. Like, are you just, you don't know, nobody looks at you enough? Are you too short? You have no self-esteem, no self-confidence. You don't know how to start a conversation, so you buy a car, you come into a lot, chopping all loud, because you bought the car that was already modified, and then you go to talk to people, but you can't talk to anybody because you bought a loud car, so you can fit in with the car people, but the car people reject you because you're weird. It's just funny to me that people will go out and buy a car pre-modified that's super fast and expect to pull up to a car meet and get respect. That is not how that works. So yeah, I mean, personally, I like to talk to people and hang out with people who build their own cars, but there's nothing wrong with a guy who's trying to get into the car community and he's buying something and he's learning. I've met a handful of people who will have like brand new Mustangs, brand new Camaros, know nothing about them, but they talk about how they want to learn how to modify cars. You know, they're doing their own research. They're, you know, going to GPI for cams for the Camaro, or if I'm up to a guy with a Mustang, I'll point him in the direction of one of my Mustang buddies and he can talk to him and maybe lead him in the direction of how he wants to modify his car. I'm not saying I know everything as well about building cars, but I can have a conversation with someone who's a pro master builder and maybe like kind of click, you know, talk about heads and headers and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, there's a big division in the car community between people who build cars and people who buy cars, and it's kind of becoming a problem. That being said, money plays a huge factor in it. Yes, it does make sense to buy a faster car. If you just want to buy a car to be fast and that's it, I guess buying new is the way to go, but just take 10 minutes and just Google your car. So that way when you come up to a Cars and Coffee or a nighttime car meet or something, I can have a conversation with you. It drives me nuts when I see a badass car and the owner knows nothing about it, or they think they do, and they are just completely batshit wrong. But hey, what can you do? I mean, like I said, you either go on the path of building your cars or buying your cars. Me personally, I'm very happy with building. I've met a lot of good friends through this process. And a lot of my friends who have bought fast cars, a handful of them have rebuilt their engines. Like my buddy Roland, he bought a 135i, blew up. He rebuilt the thing from literally the piston rings up, like everything. I'm sorry, the rod bearings, everything. He bought it, knew everything about it, took it to the track. He drove the damn thing like he's supposed to. It's a sports car. So with that being said, guys, that's just my opinion. Definitely builders are my people. I'm not really a fan of the whole clout thing of buying a fast car and then sending it off and having a bunch of people modify just so you can get some notoriety or attention. Although it would be good for the Instagram if I bought a Lamborghini, or my Facebook, or my YouTube channel. But I'll stick with my budget-built LS cars for now. But yeah, it's something I want to talk about for a minute. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comment sections down below if you prefer to build or buy cars fast, and kind of let me know what your thoughts are, your experiences. We'd love to hear them. As always, I've been Luke Waters, and I'll see you guys in the next video.